Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
I would like you all to give a warm welcome to our main speaker, Micky Bush.
Thank you, sweetie. God bless.
Thank you.
Listen up, I'm going to be talking to you. Hi everybody, my name is Micky Bush and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm probably an addict as well. And I identify that way in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, because that's the way we like it done. Am I going to go up to like 9 o'clock or something here? Is that what time? 10 of. 10 of? Okay. I like these short talks. I identify in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings as an alcoholic and probably an addict. You know, we seem to like that, and it seems to work pretty good if you're alcoholic like me. It certainly worked pretty good for Bill and Bob in the early days when they got together. It worked pretty good for me 19 years ago when I first got to Alcoholics Anonymous. And if you're new or newer around here, I have absolute faith and trust that it's likely to work for you today too. One alcoholic relates to another alcoholic. So in Alcoholics Anonymous, because we like it done that way, I identify as an alcoholic, probably an addict. Well, I'm a real alcoholic. I'm a total alcoholic. Everything about me is alcoholic. Everything I say, do, think and feel is alcoholic. There's not just a part of me alcoholic or a big part of me that ain't alcoholic. I'm all alcoholic, see? So as an alcoholic, a real alcoholic, I have the right to be dysfunctional in as many ways as I like. Don't tell me I'm limited or restricted. So consequently, I do lots of other things. I always drank, but I never only drank. I always drank, but I never only drank. I also did lots of other things, loads of other things. Drugs was a major thing. I did mountains of drugs, good drugs, and bad ones. So consequently, I get asked to speak in Narcotics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous and other anonymous programs. And when I identify in those programs, I identify as an addict and probably an alcoholic, because that's the way they like it done too. And I don't have a problem with that today. The truth of the matter is that, you know, today I know who I am, what I am, where I ought to be, what's wrong with me, and what to do about it. My name's Micky Bush. I'm an alcoholic. I'm in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. I know what's wrong with me, and I know what to do about it. And I never knew that when I got here in January the 15th, 1983. I got to the first meeting I ever consciously went to myself on January the 15th, 1983. A little under 19 years ago. Coming up on 19 years, and haven't drank from that day to this. Still haven't drank. Never went to the meeting to quit drinking, never had no desire to quit drinking, never had no countless vain attempts to drink like other people. I don't even know how you do that. How do you try and drink like other people? I know the book says that, but I don't know. Why haven't we got any literature here at this meeting anyway? Must be a chicken shit group, I suppose. Yeah. That's why it's dwindled. Most people, you know, I was just telling Jack, my buddy here who came down with me, most meetings dwindle after I've been there, not beforehand, you know. But anyway, we'll see. But in the beautiful book Alcoholics Anonymous, it says, and we read it out here today, countless vain attempts to drink like other people. You know, I don't know what that is. I never ever tried to drink like anybody else. I don't even know how you do that. How do you try and drink like somebody else? What do? Do you sneak into a bar somewhere and sidle up next to somebody and buy what they're drinking and copy the way they How do you try and drink like anybody else? I don't know. I never ever wanted to drink like anybody else. Wanted to drink like me, like the pig I was. Didn't want to drink like anybody else. I don't know how you do that. You know, I mean, we stood at the turn. What bloody turning point? I don't know no turning point. I never stood at no turning point. I don't even know what that means. I know you guys seem to. You guys seem to know a lot of things I don't know. Certainly never knew when I got here. I mean, you guys all seem to know why you drank, for example. I hear you guys tell us. I've heard it here tonight. I've heard people at the lunch meeting this morning, yesterday's meeting, people, alcoholics, talking about why they drank, and they all seem to know why they drink. I don't know why I drank. Never even thought about why I drank. Never even considered why I drank. It was never anything I even thought about. I'm from northwest London. You probably picked up on that, right? This is the way I talk. You know, alcohol didn't do this to me. You know what I mean? I mean, can't blame this on booze, you know. I'm from northwest London. My mum still lives in northwest London, and I go back there often to see her and relive some of the past and discover disclose and stuff. And I mean, where I came from, everybody drank. I don't know anybody who drank for any reason. I know our beautiful book, the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, the doctor's opinion, says alcoholics drink primarily because they like the effect produced by alcohol. Well, good. But I mean, I never knew that. I mean, I know you guys seem to know that stuff, but I never. Everybody I know drank. Nobody I knew didn't drink. But you know, if I didn't, they drank. Everybody drank like me, or I drank like them. There was never a reason to drink. There was never a reason not to drink. Everybody drank. We drank if the team won, we drank if the team lost, and if it was a tie, we drank till there was a result. I mean, we just drank. Everybody drank. I never remember I certainly never knew nothing about Alcoholics Anonymous or considered anything like that. It was never ever a question, which I know is different to you guys. You guys all seem to know why you did what you did. Because I hear you say it. You get up at meetings and you say that you were drinking because you couldn't stand who you was, and you drink to hide behind your feelings, and you drank because you couldn't stand the pain. And I think, at what stage of the game did you discover that? I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine going into a pub and saying to the bartender, "Oh, bartender, hit me with a triple shot of your best booze, because I can't stand who I am and I want to cover up the pain tonight." I mean, it never happened. Oh, Mr. Dealer Man, can I have an extra big rock of crack cocaine because I really feel inadequate? I mean, I don't know about you. I never said that. I mean, you guys all know about that. I never knew nothing like that. I don't know nothing about nothing when I get here. You know, it doesn't surprise me that our first speaker and leader doesn't understand what it is about her that makes her alcoholic. You know, it doesn't surprise me at all. When I got here, I never knew either. And you know what? I ask a lot of folk in Alcoholics Anonymous. I asked a guy today with 23 years, what is it about you that makes you alcoholic? You know what? He's 23 years sober and doesn't know. Doesn't know what it is about him that makes him alcoholic. He can say he is one. He can say what he does because he's one. He can say he's got an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body. He can say that one's too many and 1,000 ain't enough. Once he starts, he can't stop. He can say what he does because he's alcoholic, but he doesn't know what it is about him that makes him the alcoholic that he is. I'm glad I know. I hope that I pass on, especially to, you know, our leader and newcomer today, so that she doesn't have to leave here tonight without knowing. It's a crying shame in my book, you know, and I tell you what, 95% of the folk who get to Alcoholics Anonymous don't make it over the long haul. 95% of us are not making a program that really works. We stand up at the end of this meeting and join hands and say a prayer, keep coming back, it works, it really works, and other things like that we chorus. Isn't it strange? Alcoholics Anonymous, a program that really works, 95% of us are not making a program that really works. Isn't that strange? Wouldn't happen anywhere else, would it? Doesn't happen anywhere else. I don't know what you do for a living, but I'll guarantee if 95% of what you did you screwed up, I'll guarantee you wouldn't be in business long. Yeah. And yet we say, well, it does really work. You're looking at living proof that it really works. I'm nearly 19 years sober, and I'm living proof that you're not the sickest person in this room, I'll tell you that. And so, yes, it does really work, but 95% of us are not making it. How come? Because we got people around here with 23 years of sobriety not carrying this message. Whatever message they're carrying, they're not carrying our message. We got people 8 months here and doesn't know what it is about that makes you alcoholic. That's a crying shame, folks. We ought to know this stuff, and we ought to be saying this stuff. We got some unity around here, and yet we hear stuff around here like, well, take what you can use and leave the rest. Well, do it your own way, okay, that's your way, his way, my way, their way, whose way. There ain't no unity attached to that. There ain't no unity attached to your program, my program. Well, that's just his opinion. There ain't no unity attached to that. That's not what our beautiful book says. Our beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, doesn't say that. It says we have a way out that we can absolutely agree upon. This path, not those paths, this path. No S on the end of path. And another thing that I regret goes on so much around here is this suggestion stuff. It's a suggestion only, it's just suggested. Well, to the new folk in the room, I'm talking directly to you. When you stop letting your options dictate your life, you might start getting this thing. It's not until our optional becomes essential that we start grasping this thing. On page 20 of the beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, it says, if you are an alcoholic who wants to get over it, you may already be asking, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? Not what are my options, or have you got any other suggestions, or what can I cut the corners on, or, well, I don't think I'll bother with that. What do I have to do? There's nothing suggestive there. It says on page 30, we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. It's the first step in recovery, but it's not the first of the 12. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. So we had to do it, and it has to be done. There's nothing suggestive there. And we're going around suggested. There is no literature that I can find that says it's only suggested that you do these steps. All of our literature, all tell us how important it is to do the steps. These are the steps we did, which is suggested as a program of recovery. It says a program of recovery that's being suggested. We did the steps. It's a strange thing. I was thinking only about it yesterday. In 19 years of working with many thousands of alcoholics and addicts, and I know all the gurus, all the heavy hitters, and I stand on the firing line every single day. In 19 years, I've never yet come across a problem where I heard a good-intentioned sponsor, or even myself, say, oh, that problem? Yeah, that's because you're doing too many steps and working too much of a program. Oh, yeah, that problem's caused by being of too much service. Never come across a problem that was caused by being of too much service, working too many steps, or going to too many meetings. Not one. And I've never heard of a problem where I heard anybody say the solution to the problem was cut back on those bloody meetings you're going to. Cut back on that service you're doing. You know, that bloody program is not doing you one bit of good. I've never heard that. Strange, that, isn't it? So, here we got a little situation, and it's only suggested only. Well, I got news for you. It's not where I come from. I don't teach the people I come from that it's suggested only. Suggested only? You know, I'm glad that when I got here on January the 15th, 1983, that I never heard that. I'm glad I never heard that it was only suggested. Oh, it was probably said, but I never heard it. You know, I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm one of those alcoholics that was absolutely thrilled and delighted to be here from day one. I'm one of these alcoholics that walked into Alcoholics Anonymous and went, wow, wow. I walked into the Architects of Adversity meetings down there in West Hollywood, depleted, so completely defunct in every department, broke, busted, disgusted and not to be trusted, not knowing nothing about nothing. I thought I knew everything about everything, but I actually knew nothing about nothing, because I know everything. When my butt's on a bar stool for 6 hours at a time, I can talk about anything, tell you anything. Doesn't matter what it is, I know about it. I know everything about everything. You want to know how the space shuttle blew up? I'll tell you. In fact, I only miss being on it by that much. You know, when my butt's on a bar stool, I'll tell you anything about it because I know everything. But I got to Alcoholics Anonymous and never knew nothing about nothing. Never knew nothing about nothing. As I thought I knew everything about everything. I didn't know what alcoholic was. I never knew. If you'd asked me was I alcoholic and I was plugged into a lie detector machine, I'd have said, no, I'm not. And you know that needle wouldn't have even quivered. Because I wasn't lying to deceive you, but I was full of denial. I know today what that means. I wrote a word which covers denial, D-E-N-I-A-L. Don't even notice I am lying. Or don't even notice it's a lie. I never knew. I never had a clue. But I'm glad that I heard the people that I heard when I got here, because when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, not knowing nothing about nothing, but so defunct and depleted, I didn't even know what the process was that had brought me here at the time. I do today. More has been revealed, and today I know exactly what happened. I'm grateful for that as well. I pass it on to you. I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, West Hollywood, Architects of Adversity meetings. The first thing that happened was that a guy leading the meeting was an English rock and roll singer that I'd known, and he came bounding across the room, put his arms around me. He said, what are you doing? He said, giving you a hug. I said, I don't like hugs, get away from me. He said, what are you doing here? I said, you're bloody crazy, you are. What are you doing here? He said, I'm leading the meeting. I said, how come? He said, I'm 22 months sober. I went, what? He said, I'm 22 months sober. I went, ugh. What does that mean? What do you mean? He said, I ain't had a drink for 20 hours. I'll see you at the break. I've got to lead the meeting. I went, wow. And I looked around. There were some celebrities in the room that I'd known. And there was other people, and everybody was having a good time. People looked great. And I went, wow, what is this? Wow. And I was in a daze, and I was in a fog. F-O-G, fear of God. And I didn't know nothing about nothing. And a guy got in my face, and I'm glad he did. He got up in my face. Today he'd probably be called abusive. But he yelled at me, you're an alcoholic. I said, what? He said, you're alcoholic. Alcoholic? You're an alcoholic. What do you mean I'm alcoholic? You're an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic? Yes, you're an alcoholic. I thought, that's bloody mean to say a thing like that. What do you mean? To say a thing like that to a dude? You're an alcoholic. Why do you say that? Because if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and sounds like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a bloody duck. Just because he's been taking some shit and thinks he's an eagle, no, you're a duck. You're a duck, I'm a duck. Quack, quack, he said. I went, whoa. Wow. Alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic. And you know what? I was kind of mesmerized. An alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic? He said, alcoholic. He said, alcoholic. Wow, I'm an alcoholic. Far out. I thought, far out. Wow, I'm alcoholic. They've been locking me up in nut wards all my life and institutions. I ain't nuts, I ain't crazy, I'm alcoholic. Far out. Blimey. Being alcoholic was like a step up for me. Oh, wow. Oh, God. I couldn't wait to run home and tell my best pal. The pal that very morning, he'd known me all my life. We'd grown up out of the bomb shelter, born in the Second World War, and we'd ravaged our way through the Second World War, 1943, and the Blitz, and you know, we'd grown up and robbed and cheated and lied and screwed our way around the planet a couple of times, and that very morning he told me, get out, get out. He said, I know it won't happen again because I won't be in your company when you're drinking anymore. I went, wow. I couldn't wait to run back and tell him. I ran home. I said, hey, guess what? I'm an alcoholic. I'm powerless over alcohol. My life's unmanageable. He said, no shit. I thought it was going to be a surprise. Everybody knew except me. You know, I don't know. Alcoholic. Wow. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad somebody had the balls, B-A-L-L-S, bringing about long-lasting sobriety. I'm glad somebody had the balls to get up in my face and do what we do here in Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's stand for what we know to be true and pass it on. The primary purpose, stay sober, carry the message. And that's what he did to me, and I'm glad he did it the way he did, because I'm a hard-nosed, and you know, he yelled at me loud enough to get past the voices that were going off in my head. The voices that were already talking to me. Anybody relate to the voices that talk to them? Who relates to the voices that talk to them? Yeah, and the rest of you lying mothers, I know you. You know, I mean, you know the voices I'm talking about. Some mornings you wake up and the voices are sitting on the edge of the bed. Says, I'm glad you're awake, I've been waiting to talk to you. And they set in, don't they? And they drive you crazy. You know, and he yelled at me to got past the voice, alcoholic. Wow. And I'm glad he did, and today I know what he meant by that. And I ask folk today, what is it about you that makes you alcoholic? And you know what? They don't know, as they think they do. And that's a danger. You know, it's one thing if you haven't done it, but if you haven't done it but believe you have, that's very dangerous. And I ask well-meaning people, what is it about you that makes you alcoholic? And they don't know. They can say they is one, but they don't know what it is about them that makes them one. I got 2 parakeets in one of my houses. I got a lot of property today. I didn't have nothing when I got here, but I do today, and I run sober living houses, and I got, you know, 67 newcomers in my houses today, and I try and pass them on this message. And in one of my houses I got 2 parakeets, a blue one and a green one. Bill and Bob is their names, and I've trained them to speak. And you can stand next to the cage and you can hear them, and they'll screech out in a limey accent, by the way. I'm an alcoholic! I'm an alcoholic! They scream, I'm an addict! I'm an alcoholic! They're bloody parakeets is what they is, but they can say they're alcoholic. And that's what I hear a lot of in Alcoholics Anonymous, people who can say something and don't know what it is. And so if they don't know what it is about them that they're claiming they are, how can they fully concede to their innermost self that the book says is the first step in recovery? Well, I'm glad that guy taught me, because that little story about the duck and the eagle was exactly what he was telling me and teaching me. That's what makes me an alcoholic. Alcohol changes my perception of reality. Alcohol changes me from a duck to an eagle. Alcohol changes my perception of reality, and if it don't do that for you, you ain't one of us, and if it does, you is. Doesn't do that for my 3 sisters and brother. See, it does it for me. It changes me from a duck to an eagle. I go out drinking as a little duck, and I start drinking, and then I turn into an eagle, go swooping around looking for prey. Or I call it a nerd remover. You know what a nerd is, some of you are one. I feel like a nerd, I drink, I don't feel like a nerd. I feel like a nerd, I drink, and I don't care if I'm a nerd. I feel like a nerd and I drink and you're a bloody nerd, screw you. It changes me, it takes away the nerdness. Or Mary in my home group puts it as well as I've ever heard anybody put it. She's this delicate little dudette. bad alcoholic. She says that when she goes out drinking, she starts drinking and she changes from a delicate little dudette. When she starts drinking, she gets wittier, prettier and tiddier. So now I know what she means. You see, it changes my perception of reality, and I never knew that when I got here. Wow. I didn't know that on January the 15th, 1983, I hit bottom. Now I ask people what their bottoms are. You know, in the big book Alcoholics Anonymous, it's a strange thing. In the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, there is no reference to hitting bottom. It's not mentioned. Check it out. If you read the book, check it out. There's no mention of hitting bottom in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. In the 12 and 12, in the very first step, it says, why all this insistence that every alcoholic must hit bottom first? Cigarettes. Try cigarettes. Try cigarettes. Good they are for that. You know, I ask folk, give it to me. Give me your bottom. What was your bottom? You'd be amazed at what I hear. Heard it tonight. People who haven't hit bottom and don't even know what their bottom is think they do. And you know what? In recovery, in Alcoholics Anonymous, if you don't know and understand, I've got news for you. In Alcoholics Anonymous, you look bottom after bottom after bottom and get sicker and sicker and sicker. In Alcoholics Anonymous. See, I, like you, thought that my bottom, because of the mentality of the alcoholic that I have, everything's materialistic and money and me and mine and everything's all about me. So I think hitting bottom's about how far down I sunk and how much I lost and where I ended up. It's not about that stuff at all. Hitting bottom's an inside job, not an outside circumstance. Hitting bottom's not about that outside stuff. Hitting bottom's that inside stuff. See, yeah, I sank low. I told you I was broke, busted, disgusted and not to be trusted. Wasn't hitting bottom. But on January the 15th, 1983, in retrospect, I can look back and tell you that I hit bottom because today you explained it to me and taught me well. See, I sponsor celebrities and millionaires today who've got mega bucks. One guy's got 9 people working on a management team. Unmanageable? What do you mean? I've got 9 people managing my affairs. Not what we're talking about. See, I ask folk, give me your bottom. Give me what your bottom was. You'd be amazed what they tell me. I was hustling the Broadway, feet to the curb, trying to earn $1. I was, you know, kids taken away from me, laying in the gutter, homeless, didn't have no job, no money, no car, no nothing. It's not hitting bottom. I was locked up in a penitentiary, married to Bubba. It's not hitting bottom. It's not hitting bottom. We think it is, we say it is, we feel it is, but it ain't bottom. See, hitting bottom ain't about that outside stuff. Hitting bottom's that situation that far from everybody's bottom being different, like in meetings we say, everybody's bottom better be the same. See, because everybody's bottom, if you're alcoholic like us, you better reach a stage like that happened to me on January the 15th, 1983. I didn't know it then, but I do today. Something along the lines. See, in desperation and despair, hurting so badly, knowing that there was no degree of the compass that I could turn to where there would be somebody welcoming me or glad to see me. Broke, busted, disgusted and not to be trusted. I can remember as clear as dawn today that I turned to whatever it was. I never knew what it was. I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know who I was saying it to. All I know that I was crippled mentally, physically, emotionally and spiritually, and I turned to whatever it was and said, help me, please help me, what is wrong with me? And asked for help. Maybe some of you can relate to that. ASK, Ask saving kit. Help, H-E-L-P, his ever-loving presence. And it was almost like the old man seemed to be looking over my shoulder, and he just seemed to say to me, Mick, you silly bugger, I've been waiting for you to ask. Now get yourself over there to that AA meeting and sent me to you. I asked for help and he sent me to you. Because here was the help that he'd provided, here was the power that he'd provided for an alcoholic like me to come to learn how to not have to drink, which was restoring me to sanity. Because in the second step it said, came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And you guys taught me that the insanity that we talk about here is repeating the same behavior and expecting a different result. Drinking. So if that's insanity, whatever Johnny Cochran or the law or whatever definition, legally or what may be, what seems to work for us, repeating the same behavior and expecting a different result, drinking. If that's insanity, to be restored to sanity meant not drinking. And in the 12 and 12 it said, I'd warped my mind with such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence could restore it from me, could remove it from me. I'd warped my mind. So in the first two steps, it unwarps my mind. I can unwarp my mind in the first two steps to be able to think clear enough to make a straight decision in 3. Couldn't make a straight decision in 3 with a warped mind. Wow. Powerless. In and of myself I was powerless. In and of myself, this disease I got had gotten me to abandon God and spirituality so that I ended up with none. That is in fact the definition of powerless, isn't it? I ask people, what does it mean to be powerless? They don't know. They think they do. They say they do. They feel they do. But ask them about powerless, they don't know. They can say what they do because they're powerless, but they don't know what powerless is. But think about it. In the beautiful book Alcoholics Anonymous, it said, there is one who has all power, that one is God. May you find him now. Well, if I had to find him, it meant I didn't have him, didn't it? If he had all the power and I didn't have him, I didn't have no power. So it meant obviously that where alcohol and drugs was concerned, I had no God in my life when it came to alcohol and drugs. Powerless. Had no God in my life when it came to alcohol and drugs. Where alcohol and drugs was concerned, I had no God in my life. This disease I got along the path of life had gotten me to abandon God and spirituality so that I ended up with none. Powerless. I ain't powerless today. I know you guys walk around saying you're powerless. I don't. My first step says we admitted we were powerless, that my life had become unmanageable. Not that I am powerless and it is unmanageable. The mere fact that I'm doing step 3, making a decision, means that I'm not powerless anymore, doesn't it? Couldn't make a decision, turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood God while I was drinking and drugging. That drinking and drugging was the power in my life. When people say today, I don't have to drink over it, think about what's being said. I had to drink. When I was drinking and drugging and in the depths of this disease, I had to drink. I couldn't just choose to, no more than I can choose not to today. I hear people say, I choose not to drink today. I think, well, like, piss on you. I wish I could rely on choosing. We hear that. My book tells me I've lost the power of choice. But we hear people talking about that. You know, I wish I could not do it because I didn't want to. I wish I could rely on the fact that I have a desire to not do it. You know, the only requirement for membership is a desire to quit. I've got to have a desire to quit, but I can't rely on it. I've got to have a desire to quit, but I can't. Cigarettes. See, I've got to not want to do it and then come here and do these steps and this work so that I don't do what I already don't want to do. I can't just say no. I can't get away with that. I got to not want to do it and then do these steps in this work so that I don't do what I already don't want to do. And if I ain't doing these steps in this work, or don't know what these steps in this work is, I will do what I don't want to do, because the disease I got that I'm powerless over will make me do what I don't want to do. I don't want to do it, but I got a disease that does. And that disease that does is more powerful than my desire not to. So I can't rely on just choosing not to do it. If we could, we'd have a different ball game here, wouldn't we? If I could just say no and rely on that, we'd have a different ball game going on here. Can't do that. I couldn't do that. I said to myself loads of times, I don't want to do that anymore, and carried on doing it. Well, you guys taught me well and you taught me good, and I do what you do. Today, I do exactly the same today as what I've ever done. In the first 30 days, you guys taught me the primary purpose. Stay sober, carry the message. Stay sober, carry the message. I do the same thing today. That's all I do today. Stay sober, carry the message. I don't change it. I've got a winning format. I don't change that. I keep doing just exactly that all the time. Stay sober, carry the message. Don't do nothing different. Just stay sober, carry the message. As a result of me doing the same thing repetitively, day after day after day, remarkable changes go on in my life. The results, which are none of my business, of me doing the same thing day in, day out, is astronomical. I ain't broke, busted, disgusted and not to be trusted today. I'm a bloody millionaire. I got more of everything I need. Everything I need, I got more of it than I need, especially the conscious contact with the power. Powerless? Why would I think I'm powerless? In and of myself I was, but I ain't in and of myself anymore, am I? I asked for help, he sent me to you. That's why this thing works if you're atheist, agnostic or whatever, because here's the power. You can choose where yourself where the power came from, but you can't deny the power because it's right here, right now. And as you reach out, you touch it. As you touch it, you become a part of it. And here we got it, right here, right now. We've got a design for living, a power greater than me that we can absolutely depend upon to not have to drink today. He gave it to me, he gave it to you. We got it. I asked for help, he sent me to you. You introduced me to a big book. In the big book was a program with 12 steps. You invited me to get a sponsor. Today I got a sponsor. Today I sponsor other people. I got so much bloody power over alcohol today, I don't know what to do with it. I said to my sponsor, what should I do with all that power over alcohol I got? He said, give it away. He said, just give it away. I don't tell people I'm powerless. I know you guys like to, but I don't. I got so much power. Now, one guy told his sponsor what I'd said. His sponsor said, yeah, well, we all know about Mickey Bush. Let him take a drink of alcohol and see how much power he's got over alcohol. I said to the guy, I said, did you hear the sound? He said, what sound? I said, the sound of a mind slamming shut to a new idea. He said, no. I said, get the hell away from that old fart. Needs a brain transplant. If he's hearing that I'm saying that if I take a drink of alcohol, I'll have power over it, he needs a bloody brain transplant. Get the hell away from him. I ain't saying that at all. What I am saying is, before I take a drink, so that I don't have to drink, so in order to live this life without drinking, I have the power today to not have to pick up the drink in the first place. That's what I was granted. And he gave it to me and he gave it to you too. We have it right here, right now. And I can't tell you what, I've heard some laughter. If you're relating to me, they say if you're laughing, you're relating. If you're relating to someone like me, there ain't no doubt about you. Because that's what we do here, don't we? We come here, relate one alcoholic to another. I got to stop. It's that time. But I thoroughly enjoyed my little stay here. And I hope that this meeting flourishes and prospers and that we move back to wherever it goes and we keep on doing what we do around here. One alcoholic relating to another alcoholic. My telephone number, by the way, is 818 area code RUSOBER. 818 RU-SOBER. That's my telephone number, and I give that to you because on that first meeting that I went to, you gave it to me. You gave me your phone number, and I called one of you. And one of you came and got me and took me to another meeting and got me a big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, I still have it, and it's got lots of miles on it. God bless. Thank you.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. And if that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.